Okay. I'm not able to go on YouTube, but at least I'll record it on my computer and then upload. Okay. So we are in Jnana Yoga, Transcendental Knowledge, right? So let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda, Manglacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Ayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitam Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Te Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Ishatarine Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So let us start. So we saw there were 5 sections and we were talking about knowledge about Krishna, transcend, where he talked about Parampara Prapta. Okay. So Krishna, blessed Lord said he had instructed this science of yoga to sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed. So it was the responsibility of the Raja Rishis what to do to educate and send them to educate the culture and to spread the spirituality, everything. It was their responsibility. And here Krishna placed the importance to parampara. That two bona fide paramparas are there. Lord Brahma parampara, Sri Lakshmi's parampara, Rudra parampara, and 4 Kumaras. And we looked at the prominent acharyas who propagated their teachings. Ramadvacharya, Ramanatacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbak. And we come under the Brahma parampara. Okay. So what was the responsibilities of these acharyas is they not only have to protect the knowledge, the science, they have to practice it, and they also have to pass it on as it is, as their masters taught them. So this is how it is. You have to protect, you have to preserve, protect, then you have to practice it and to pass it on. And down the line, it was not, people did not practice it properly and they had not passed it properly. So Krishna said it was broken. So it should be received by disciplic succession. And he told Krishna told Arjuna that you are my devotee and my friend. So I'm telling you this because the parampara appears to be lost. The science has been lost. So he's starting a new parampara through Arjuna. Okay. So what is this knowledge about transcendent knowledge? Is all about Krishna's form, his birth, his activities, why he has come, his appearance, disappearance, and his creativities. And he is the one cause of all causes, right? Absolute truth. So this is one thing, the knowledge. And it doesn't talk about the activity. Means there's no change from last chapter 3. We talked about how to do our work, how to do our karma, and then we said you have to renounce the results for the Lord. Okay, and he talked on how to be an example. Now is adding knowledge to this spiritual knowledge because that will strengthen our, give us strength to overcome the lust which is the one which is an enemy, which is pulling us to sinful activities. So your work won't be changed. You'll be doing the same work, but with this knowledge which we get from, which has been talked about in this chapter. Okay, so Arjuna will be still fighting in the war. He said that fighting in the war is not changed, but now he will be having this knowledge which he got from the Lord. Okay, so knowing these truths, one who takes shelter of Krishna becomes purified and attains Krishna. So, and what is the benefit of knowing this knowledge? It purifies us and we can go back to him. Krishna says will come back to him by taking shelter of him. And he said he comes. Why does he come? Because of his devotees. And also to miscreants are there to punish them. And also to establish dharma. Because once when he sees that religion has gone haywire, then he comes to establish dharma. So these are the three reasons why. And mainly it's for the devotees. For miscreants, he could have sent anybody, but mainly he comes for these devotees. Okay. And then he talked about how people do not take shelter because if they are free from raga, attachment to this material body, and they're free from the fear of losing this identity, and how they become frustrated and krodha. If they are free from all this, pita, raga, bhaya, krodha, then they can take shelter of it. Okay, and we also saw in the purport of thing, I didn't highlight it last time, but I would like to bring it out this fact that it's not a fact that Lord appears only on Indian soil. Here, Prabhupada writes very beautifully. It's not that Lord only appears in India and not anywhere else. No, He's there. He comes in all over the place, but it depends upon, it might be, He can manifest Himself anywhere and everywhere and whenever He decides to appear. In each and every incarnation, He speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under the particular circumstances. In fact, yesterday we had a good discussion about how Buddhism and thing. So it depends upon the people and the circumstances. And only to that level he will impart the knowledge. The religion can be understood only by the people under the particulars. But the mission is the same. That is, they lead the people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. There's nothing like this religion is better than that. No, it depends upon to which we can understand, to which level we can relate to. See, here today we are only, Prabhupada's teaching is all based on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's things. So, we follow the teachings of Prabhupada, right? So, this is what we could relate to. There could be others who can't do this. They like some other acharya. So, their teachings will be different. So, depends upon to whom you can relate to and you can understand. Same way, even in a class, when a teacher is teaching you mathematics, say, then you might understand everything. Even you can go up to the level of calculus. But there are some who can only understand the basics. They might like to understand their science, botany much better. So it depends on different people. Same way here, there's nothing like you have to compare one religion to the other. Which one gives you the answer, which one you feel it relates and you can relate to that. So here Prabhupada clearly writes, the mission is same, that is to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he designs personally, sometimes he sends his bona fide representative in the form of his son or servant or himself in some disguise. Okay, so we should be clear, and all we have to understand is this knowledge is transcendental knowledge and why he has come, why he has made it, and what is the purpose. So once you understand that, he says you can come back to his world. So how do you apply this transcendental knowledge? So we stopped. By hearing about Krishna, many persons in the past became purified. Purified their desire. See, the desire is what we desire to be material desires. I mean, you want to, I mean, grow materially, we want to have wealth, we want to have knowledge. I mean, everything in this sense, of sense gratification. But once we desire towards to know the Lord, to know about Him, to go back to the Lord, God's abode, then your desires are getting purified. So, and finally you attain. And how do you get purified? By doing devotional service and attain the love of Krishna. So they attained love for Krishna because this was the desire and Krishna fulfilled it. So depending on your desire, Krishna will reciprocate. Okay. So what if someone takes shelter of Krishna with something other than a desire to achieve transcendental love? Suppose if they have some other desire, then then text 11 verse explains Krishna's reciprocation with such characters. How Krishna reciprocates with a jiva, with a conditional soul. So we are going to see that in 4.11. Yata mam prapadyante tam tataiva bhajami aham mama manuvartante manushyam partha sarvasha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects of Sana. So depending on to the extent you surrender to Him, to reciprocate, to that extent the Lord will reciprocate to you. So it all depends upon or to the degree of surrender to the Lord. I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path, because if you desire materially, you want to be in this material world and you want to enjoy here, He allows you, because this is what you want. And if you want to go back to Him, then He will allow you and He will guide you. So it depends on how we surrender. Everyone follows my path in all respects. Okay, son of Pritha. So there are 3 levels of understanding. We know that Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan. So one who realizes Krishna fully, that is in Bhagavan realization, he is the pure devotee. Okay, he understands Him completely. But there are people who looking for Krishna in different aspects of His manifestation. He is the object of everyone's realization. So here from this verse, we understand Krishna reciprocates based on desires. So if he's a fruity worker and karmis, and he wants material benefits, then he will reciprocate as an Agneshwara, because they will do rituals, as per the Vedic rituals, and Agneshwara is the Lord of the sacrifice. So he will fulfill your desires. He is the one who is reciprocating. But impersonalists, they want to merge with the Brahma Jyoti. So then he says, okay, if you want to merge with me, come on, then you can Brahma Jyoti. Yogis, they want some mystic powers. But devotees, they want to relate to Him in different rasas, either the Vatsalya rasa or the Dasya rasa or the Sakya rasa. So without coming to highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, all attempts are imperfect. Okay. So everyone depends on Krishna's mercy for success. All kinds of spiritual process are but different degrees of success on the same path. So it's only one path. It's not like you have a different path. It's only one path and we have a different success. Either you will be in the fruity worker and then or impersonalist. I think it's all different levels. But the path is same. All is going towards the Lord. Okay. Otherwise, you are depending on that. You are in the cycle of birth and death. Fine. So, impulse do not agree to accept the eternal blissful personality of Godhead. They cannot relish the bliss of transcendental personal service to Lord. So, they don't want to do devotional service personally. They want to merge with the Lord energy. So, those who are not firmly situated even in the impersonal existence return to this material field to exhibit their dormant desires for activities. So, if they are not situated there also, they will come back to the earth. But they are not admitted into the spiritual class. They will be given a chance to act on the material platform. Okay. So that is. But fruity workers, they award the results as the Agneshwara. Yogis seeking mystic powers are awarded such powers. So all prefer but degree of success. And here finally in Bhagavatam it says all that has become perfect. Only one is in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Because that is the main thing. But why doesn't the people do not reciprocate so easily? Because they are very impatient. Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. Because they want the results immediately, they want the benefits immediately, they want to enjoy it now itself, they turn towards the demigods for to fulfill their desires. Their desires are fruitive activities, that is the sense gratification. So the purport Prabhupada writes, demigods are not different forms of God, but they are God's different parts and passes. That means they are given some powers to manage this material world. Okay, like we have different parts. Hand is for something, leg is for it takes us from one part to the other. Hand is one thing which helps us to move things. So, and eyes are there to see things. Yeah, so the different parts of the body, same way, the demigods are given different powers to manage this material world. But God is one. And these demigods are living entities, Nityana, but they cannot be equal to Narayana Vishnu. So they have got limited powers, but they are quite pure devotees. They are not like Jiva conditioned souls, but they have their own thing. Okay. And they are also temporary. Once this material world is annihilated, then they also will vanish. Because demigods as well as the Vishnus will vanish with the annihilation of this material world. Okay. So, what were the differences between demigods and the super soul is always worship Supreme as obedient servants. They are created by the Supreme, exist within the material nature. They are given different various grades of power to manage the affairs of the universe. They subordinate to the will of Supreme. They have material bodies and subject to birth, old age, disease, and death. But they'll have, because they are in the higher planets, depending on the planets, where the higher planets, so their duration of life will be long. Okay. And they come under the influence of the three modes of nature to different extents. Whereas the Lord is supreme whole, he is the supreme creator, and beyond material creation. He is independent. Okay. And he has got a spiritual body, is beyond the influence of spirituals. Because he is the controller, he is the cause of all causes. So they get the sanction from the Lord only, and then they fulfill our desires. Otherwise, they don't. So they are obedient to the Supreme. Then, so the Jivas now is talking about how they reciprocate. Okay. How the Jivas reciprocate to the Lord. And they want to have the results fast, so they turn to the demigods to get the results impatient, right? Now, but these are all temporary, but they don't understand, but they want to have enjoy the benefits here itself in that life. Then Krishna now talks about this, a very important thing, very important sloka. Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagashaha tasya kartaram apimam vidhi akartaram avyayam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am at the non-doer being unchanged. So, he has created four divisions of things. And what are the divisions? Is based on their guna and karma. Okay. Their attitude and aptitude for the work. Okay. Attitude. So there are people who know who are intellectual. They would like to read, they have to study. And so they are the intellectual class, the Brahmanas. And the Kshatriyas are the ones who like to work, they want to administer, they want to rule, they want to govern. So they're all in the mode of passion. And they are the ruling classes. Another thing. Then Vaishyas are the ones who like to do business, who like to do the thing. So they are the mixed mode of passion and ignorance, the thing. And we have the Sudras who would like to just do the service for the other three classes of people. So they are the mode of ignorance. So we see this kind of thing, but it is under, it's not perverted, it's nothing. But in Vedic culture, it is very distinct. Brahmanas means they will not work, but they will focus on educating everybody. Mode of goodness. Okay, they'll try to study the Vedic scripture, they'll have a Gurukul system, they will teach the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas, but Sudras will never learn, so they don't think, but others, so all the ethics, values and all that, they will train them, okay? So this system was there, all right? And Krishna says it is created by him. So you do find it as even today, but in a different order, okay? And why it is different today is there is one class is trying to dominate the other class. So that's why we have confusion here. So it does not belong to us. Varnashma Dharma division is based on guna and karma, okay? Brahmana is the mode of goodness, and higher than Brahmana is the Vaishnava, who is finally realizes the self-realized soul. Okay, Kshatriya is the mode of passion, Vaishya is mode of passion and meekness, sort of meekness. Okay, so purpose of this system is to elevate from animal status to human status. So they have to work in a coordinate because you need all these four classes in any society, right? And they have to work in a coordinate manner so that they systematically develop Krishna consciousness. People could purify themselves by regulating the desires. The process of purification for one whose material desire inhibits him from directly approaching Krishna. So this is done. So you might think the caste system, but it's not that. It was in the Vedic system. It was diligently followed, and they used to help each other. Down the line, it has been degraded and they have not, purpose has been lost. So there is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Namam karmani limpanti, name karma palasvara. Okay, let us see the purport. You can see that is very. Hare Krishna, anyone can volunteer? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, may I?
Yes, Mataji. Okay. One paragraph you can read, Mataji. Start, Mataji.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As there are constitutional laws in the material world stating that the king can do no wrong or that the king is not subject to the state laws, similarly the Lord, although he is the creator of this material world, he is not affected by the activities of the material world. He creates and remains aloof from the creation, whereas the living entities are entangled in the fruitive results of material activities because of their propensity for lording it over material resources. The proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, but the workers are themselves responsible. The living entities are engaged in their respective activities of sense gratification, and these activities are not ordained by the Lord. For advancement of sense gratification, the living entities are engaged in the work of this world and they aspire to heavenly happiness after death. The Lord, being full in himself, has no attraction for so-called heavenly happiness. The heavenly demigods are only his engaged servants. The proprietor never desired the low-grade happiness such as the workers may desire. He is aloof from the material actions and reactions. For example, the rains are not responsible for different types of vegetation and that appear on the earth. Although without such rain, there is no possibility of vegetative growth. Vedic Smriti confirms this fact as follows. Nimitta matram eva shau srujayanam sarga karmani pradana karani bhuta yato vai srijya shaktaye. In the material,
okay,
in the material, may Mataji?
Okay, Mataji, you can continue this one. Very good. In the material creations, the Lord is the only supreme cause. Okay. So the immediate cause is the So he doesn't entangle with our activities because he doesn't tell you to do this or that. You have a choice whether to follow Krishna or to follow the Maya. So here Krishna clearly says their living entities are engaged in the respective activities thing, and these are activities are not ordained by the Lord. We have the choice. Like the proprietor of an establishment is not responsible for the right and wrong activities of the workers, right? The workers are themselves responsible. So here it clearly says we are the responsible for our activities. Fine. And the created beings are of many varieties, such as demigods, human beings, lower angels. All of them are subjected to reactions of their past good or bad actions. The Lord only gives the facilities and the regulations of the modes of nature, but is never responsible for their past and present activities. Okay. So this we have to be clearly. Here Krishna is again telling us that he is giving us the facilities, and through the agents of material nature, we are trying to fulfill our desires. Okay. So one who does not know the transcendental nature of the Lord, one who thinks that the activities of the Lord are aimed at fruitive results, are activities of the Lord, ordinary living entities. So because he doesn't think that the Lord is a supreme Lord, there is a creator and we have to work for him, he get entangled himself in the fruitive reactions. But one who knows the supreme truth is a liberated soul fixed in Krishna consciousness. So there is no work that affects this. Yeah, but here in the universe as in the earth, he did the functions of all the things. He was a Kshatriya in the thing, and he was a Shudra because he was a charioteer for Arjuna. Then he was Vaishya because he was in Vrindavan. So he can take anything. There's nothing binding him. But he is not entangled in the fruitive reactions of the world. So here we clearly, the purport we see that we are not, Jiva is the conditioned souls are responsible for their own activities. And Krishna doesn't tell you to do this or that, but he might tell you the principles and all that, but if you don't follow his principles, then we are responsible, isn't it? So that's very clearly given here. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. So whatever has been done by the liberated souls, we should follow in their footsteps. So he says, just this understanding of my nature. So once we get this knowledge, if we understand this knowledge about the Lord, about the supreme truth, then just do a duty. Perform your duty with that. That means your duty is not changed. Your responsibilities are not changed. But your consciousness has changed. Now you can work with the understanding the Lord is there, Supreme Lord, and we have to work for him. Only that consciousness has changed. But the work doesn't change. So we have to follow. That's how our liberated souls in the ancient times have acted. So you also do in the same way, Krishna says. So now he's going to again, from these verses, he's going to talk about the, again, karma, vikarma, karma, because this is something which is very difficult to understand, isn't it? Actions, karma is nothing but actions which are performed in terms of one's prescribed duties as mentioned in revealed scriptures. Vikarma is against the revealed scriptures, forbidden action. Akarma is actions which free one from the cycle of birth and death. So, law of nature, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reactions. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayo api atra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshami yajnatva moksha. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action, what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. Karmanyo api bodhavayam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavayam gahanaka. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, what inaction. Action is karma. Forbidden action is vikarma, and inaction is akarma. Okay. So that, because once we understand this, then it's easy for us to follow things. So Vikarmis are the ones who don't follow the Vedas. They get they get degraded to lower species, and they are not appreciated with same people, and they don't know, defeat the purpose of life. The purpose of a life is to go back to the Lord, right? And to think. But we defeat and we get entangled in this cycle of birth and death. Whereas the karmis, they will follow the ways piously, they'll attain Swarga, bodies of the demigod. And actually, they have to, after their pious thing credit is been exhausted, they have to come back to Mritya Loka. And again, they have to start. They'll be in this. But even if you go to heavenly planets, you're not free from cycle of birth and death. Akarma is one where you do the work for the Lord, devotional service to the Lord. And because the way they do it, they know that fruitive active binds and means rebirth. They don't want that. Like a best example is Narada Muni is always in devotional service to the Lord. So one who sees inaction in action and action in action is intelligent and among men, and he is the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of actions. Here now you must understand here the karma, no? Karmani akarmaya pasyat, akarmini cha karma. So buddhiman manusya, thus Krishna karma. So sees inaction in action and action is that. So we should, it's like, fun, you might understand this. So Krishna consciousness is intelligent, he is engaged in all sorts of activities. He does not enjoy or suffer any of them. So why? Because he is free from bonds of karma as all his activities are performed for Krishna. So akarma means without reaction to work. That is, you do the work, and because you're doing the work for the Lord, that means you're free from the bondage. Karma bandha, you're not. And there won't be any reaction to the work. Whereas the impersonal ceases fruitive activities out of fear, so that resultant action may not be stumbling block. Because impersonalists know, they feel that any activity, fruitive activities, if they don't know, they will be an impediment to their spiritual growth. So they will try, they're always in that fear. So that's how they feel. But personalities are aware that he is eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. So he engages something. So this is the difference between impersonalist and personalist. Personalist knows that he is on the eternal, this is the truth. He's a soul and not a body. And he is the eternal servitor of the Lord. So he has to do the service for the Lord. So he'll engage himself in Krishna consciousness. So as everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys transcendental happiness in doing his service. He is immune to all reactions. So action in action means in spirituality, one is supposed to be doing nothing. A non-Krishna concept. So let us see the next I've written here. What do you mean by action in action? Is we do the activity, but there is no reaction. That means we don't get any bondage to that thing. We are doing it for the Lord. We are doing it for devotional service. It is activity done in Krishna consciousness. So activity is being done, but you don't incur any reaction. So here inaction is a karma, the reaction. We don't get this. When he says inaction, action means we may not do the activity, but there is a reaction. Because not doing also you incur, because it's your duty, you should have done it. But if you don't do it for the Lord, you will get a reaction. That means you will have bondage to the thing. So there are a lot different meanings of the karma. We have to see in what context, and then only you'll be able to understand. In this verse, there are two meanings for akarma. Akarma can mean no activity or no reactions to activity. Okay, so this is, the punning is there, no? Action in action thing, you should be able to understand. If you have any doubts, we can discuss this again, because all it means is action in inaction. Here, inaction means there's no reaction. Here, inaction means not doing any activity. Okay? And there, action is, karma can mean anything. Depends upon how in context. Okay? So, after this, then Krishna now continues to give the symptoms of the qualities of the people, of the devotees who work in transcendence, who work in Krishna consciousness. The main characteristics is they work without attachment to the sense gratification. They are detached. And they are detached from the fruits. Because though they are doing the fruitive activities, but they are not attached to the fruits. Because they know it is all for the Lord. Ever satisfied and independent. Their self-control. Their mind and intelligence are fully controlled. And they don't own, they are free from the sense of proprietorship. They don't try to lord over things, saying that these results, because I have done it, I own the results. No, they are free from the proprietorship. And their desire will be only for bare things, their necessity to carry out the work. They are not, their desire is not much. Then they're satisfied with whatever comes by providence with no overendure. So they don't put too much of effort, like, too much. If something happens, even if it is success or failure, they are satisfied because they think, okay, this is what the Lord has given me and is happy with that. But he would have done the work. He will carry out the action, but he will carry out with this consciousness and his freedom from duality. Nothing can hamper his service because he's focused in doing his service to the Lord and is steady in success and failure. Freedom from envy, detached from the modes, fully saturated in things. So this is how in these verses we can understand, we get the characteristic, the qualities of the devotee who is working in Krishna consciousness. Okay. So in the practicing stage, one is understood to be in full knowledge whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. Is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Because he understood this knowledge that he has to work for the Lord, he is a servitor of the Lord, then he doesn't get into any reactions, bandhana, because he is devoid of desire for sense gratification. So this is the practicing stage. So not that you will jump over the next day itself, you will become a perfect devotee. No, it's a process. Okay, slowly you burn up by the fire of perfect knowledge, the reactions. Abandoning all attachment to results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive actions, although engaged in all kinds of activities. So this is the knowledge. Once he works the same work, but he's working with knowledge, perfect knowledge, right? So, and when does he reach the perfection? What happens? When such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled. So when he reaches the perfection, that is when his mind and intelligence are controlled. Gives up all sense of proprietorship of his possessions and acts only for the base necessities of life. So he is not affected by sin. So the other two, first the beginning stage, practicing stage, and then when in perfection stage is when they give up all things. And we have the perfect example of the 6 Goswamis. Okay. And who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, is free from duality, it does not envy, is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled all the performing actions. Okay. The work of a man who is unattached to modes of intelligence, fully situated, merges entirely into transcendence. Here, Brahma Arpanam Brahma Ve, Brahmagna Brahmana Bhatam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the conception is absolute. So even if though he is in the material world, but still he is in the spiritual platform, he is fully Krishna consciousness. So he is not affected by the reactions of his work because it's all absolute. Such a person is said to be Krishna consciousness, knowing his God. Whatever he does for Krishna. All his works technically become sacrifices. Every sacrifice satisfying Vishnu or Krishna. So with this, like, here there's some examples I've taken it from the purport. A cashier receives or issues lakhs of rupees on behalf of bank. The moment he steals a penny, he's arrested. He'll be dealing with the money, but that is not his. It's all belonging to the bank. But if he steals a penny, he's arrested. That's the thing. Same way, the soldier killing people in the army is awarded Paramvir Chakra, but when he kills his neighbor for his own personal reason, he is arrested. So here Arjuna is fighting for Dharma Yuddha on behalf of God, whereas Duryodhana is fighting for his own selfish plan. So this is some of the examples I've given in the purport. Okay, we just finished this. If anything, we'll stop sharing. I will stop.